Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin today with a thought that may change the way you look at your entire life. Most people think their biggest challenge is motivation. They say, Jim, if I just had more motivation, I'd be healthier, I'd be wealthier, I'd be more disciplined, I'd be the person I know I could be. But let me tell you something I learned many years ago. Motivation was never the problem. Never. Motivation is like the weather. It comes and it goes. One good sunrise and you're ready to conquer the world. One rough morning and suddenly you've lost the fire. So if your entire future depends on how motivated you feel when you wake up, you're in real trouble. No, the real issue is not motivation. The real issue is philosophy, the set of ideas you've accepted as true. The way you think about success, the way you think about yourself, the way you think about discipline, effort, and change. Your philosophy is the master program running in the background. It decides how much motivation you allow yourself to feel. It decides how long you hold on to it. It decides whether you follow through or fall back. When people say, I can't stay consistent, what they're really saying is, my philosophy can't support the goals I've set. And if the foundation is weak, it doesn't matter how many times you paint the walls, the building still won't stand. See? Motivation is the spark. Philosophy is the engine. Motivation may start the car, but philosophy keeps it running when the road gets rough, when the weather gets bad, when the journey becomes long. And the journey will always be long. That's why so many people begin their goals like fireworks, bright, loud, exciting, and end like smoke in the wind. They were counting on motivation to do the heavy lifting. It never does. It was never meant to. Motivation can push you for a day. Philosophy can guide you for a lifetime. So today, we're not here to pump you up. We're not here to make you feel excited for an hour only to lose steam by tomorrow. No. Today, we're here to build something deeper, something sturdier, a philosophy that can carry your discipline, sustain your habits, and shape your future. Because once you change your philosophy, everything else will begin to fall into place. Your attitude shifts, your daily activity changes, your results improve, your lifestyle transforms. It all begins right here with the way you think. And I promise you this, once your philosophy becomes strong enough, you won't have to chase motivation ever again. You'll attract it, you'll generate it, you'll live inside it. That's the difference between wishing for change and becoming the kind of person change follows naturally. Let's begin that journey today. Now let's talk about something most people never understand, why willpower keeps failing them. They think it's a character flaw. They think they're weak. They think something is wrong with them because they can start a habit, but they can't keep it. But let me tell you the truth. I learned early in my career, willpower isn't designed to carry the full weight of your life. It's too small. It burns out too fast. It was never meant to be your long-term strategy for success. Let me put it another way. Willpower is a push. Philosophy is a pull. Willpower pushes you up the hill for a few days. Philosophy pulls you for years. When your willpower and your philosophy disagree, your philosophy always wins. Every time. If your philosophy quietly whispers, missing one day won't hurt, your willpower may argue, no, today is important, but philosophy wins. If your philosophy says, I'm not a disciplined person, your willpower may say, I'll try harder, but philosophy wins. If your philosophy says, I always fall off track, your willpower may shout, not this time, but philosophy wins. You see, willpower is the soldier, philosophy is the general. And no army succeeds when the soldier is fighting a losing war against the orders of the general. The real battle isn't between you and your habits. The real battle is between your willpower and your belief system. And your belief system, your philosophy, determines your destiny long before your willpower gets a vote. Let me give you an example. Someone says, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. They set the alarm. They're excited. They're committed. That first morning, the willpower is strong. They jump out of bed like a rocket. The second day, willpower says, let's go, but the philosophy starts whispering. We usually sleep in. Remember? The third day, the alarm rings, and the philosophy says, this is too much. This isn't you. You're tired. You worked hard yesterday. Just this once, and that's it. The discipline collapses, not because of the alarm, not because of laziness, but because their philosophy wasn't built to support 5 a.m. Willpower didn't fail. The philosophy did. Your mind is like a thermostat. If your thermostat is set at 70 degrees and you heat up your life to 90 with motivation, excitement, new goals, the thermostat will work its way right back down to 70, always. Because the thermostat, the philosophy, controls your internal environment. Not your passion, not your mood, not your motivation. That's why some people get big opportunities and shrink back down. That's why some people lose weight and gain it back. That's why some people start a business and sabotage it. Their thermostat wasn't set for success. Their philosophy wasn't prepared for a higher level. If you want to change your life, you don't fight the thermostat, you reset it. And that's what we're doing in this lesson. We're not forcing your willpower to work harder. We're upgrading the philosophy that makes success natural, not painful. Because once your philosophy changes, your willpower doesn't have to fight anymore. Your habits align. Your choices align. Your emotions align. Your life aligns. The war ends the moment your philosophy and your goals finally agree. Now that we understand why willpower fails, let's take the next step. Let me share with you the framework that changed my life. A system so simple that most people overlook it, and yet so powerful that once you understand it, you can trace every success you've ever had and every failure right back to this structure. I call it the 5 pieces to the life puzzle. 5 simple parts. 5 moving gears. 5 forces that shape your destiny, whether you know it or not. Here they are. Piece 1, philosophy. Piece 2, attitude. Piece 3, activity. Piece 4, results. Piece 5, lifestyle. Now let me tell you something important. Most people try to start at the wrong end. They look at their lifestyle, the money, the weight, the relationships, the career, and they say, I need to fix this. But lifestyle is the last piece. It's the final chapter of the story. If you try to change your life by starting at the end, you will always lose. Success doesn't start with lifestyle. Success begins with philosophy. Everything flows downward from there. Let's walk through each piece for a moment so you see how the entire system connects. Piece 1, philosophy. This is how you think, what you believe about life, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about discipline, success, failure, effort, money, health. Philosophy is the root. If the root is sick, the fruit is sick. Piece 2, attitude. Attitude is your emotional interpretation of your philosophy. It's how you feel about what you think. If your philosophy says, life is happening to me, your attitude will be defeat. If your philosophy says, life is happening for me, your attitude becomes confidence. Attitude is the weather of the mind, but philosophy sets the climate. Piece 3, activity. Activity is what you do with what you think and what you feel. If your philosophy and attitude are strong, activity becomes consistent. If they are weak, activity becomes chaotic. 2 days on, 5 days off, 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Activity is simply philosophy in motion. Piece 4, results. Results never lie. They don't care about excuses. They don't care about intentions. They don't care how much you meant to do. Your results are the harvest of your activity. And the harvest always matches the seeds you plant. Piece 5, lifestyle. Lifestyle is the sum total of your results. It's your health, your bank account, your relationships, your peace of mind, the way you live your days, the expression of all your philosophies working together. People want a millionaire lifestyle on a minimum wage philosophy, and life simply doesn't work that way. Once you understand the 5 pieces, something remarkable happens. You stop being confused. You stop being frustrated. You stop blaming luck or timing or talent. You can finally look at your life and say, I see the piece that's out of alignment. Because if your philosophy is wrong, your attitude will be wrong. If your attitude is wrong, your activity will be wrong. If your activity is wrong, your results will be wrong. If your results are wrong, your lifestyle will be wrong. The entire chain follows your philosophy like a shadow follows your body. And here's the best news. If just one piece changes, the entire chain can transform with it. Especially the first one. Especially philosophy. So let's start repairing the system from the ground up, beginning with the most important piece of all, Now that we've laid out the 5 pieces, let's go straight to the foundation, your philosophy. Because if this piece doesn't change, nothing else will. Your habits won't last. Your attitude won't stick. Your results won't improve. Your lifestyle won't rise. Everything begins with this one simple idea. Your philosophy is the master program of your life. And here's the problem. Most people never update the program. They're running their adult life on beliefs they absorbed at age 7, 12, 16, beliefs they never questioned, never examined, never rewrote. And they wonder why they keep producing the same results. A poor philosophy sounds like this. I never catch a break. That's just the way I am. I wasn't born disciplined. No one in my family ever succeeded. If only someone helped me. If only I had the right talent. If only I had more time. If only I had more money. If only, if only, if only. Let me tell you something about if only. It's the anthem of people who stay stuck. A powerful philosophy sounds very different. It says, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I can learn what I need to learn. I can change what I need to change. I'm responsible for my future. My daily disciplines build my destiny. Small steps matter. My habits compound. I attract success by becoming a better version of myself. Now here's the secret most people never hear. Your philosophy is not fixed. You weren't born with it. You built it through the books you read, the people you admired, the environment you grew up in, the beliefs you repeated. And since you built it, you can rebuild it. A new philosophy must be constructed deliberately, piece by piece. You can't wish it into existence. You have to build it. Let me give you a simple example. Someone says, I can't save money. That's not a financial problem. That's a philosophy problem. A philosophy that says money only comes in to be spent will never produce savings, no matter how much willpower you apply. But someone else says, I pay myself first. That's a philosophy. And the philosophy directs the action. And the action creates the result. And the result builds the lifestyle. Your philosophy shapes everything. How you wake up, how you work, how you love, how you eat, how you spend, how you invest, how you respond to setbacks, how you think about your future. Your philosophy is the lens through which you interpret your entire life. Now let me give you one more truth, and I want you to take this one seriously. You cannot outperform a philosophy that contradicts your goals. You can try, you can push, you can grind, you can force yourself, but eventually the old philosophy pulls you back to the old life. If your philosophy says, small choices don't matter, you'll never build discipline. If your philosophy says, I'll start when life is easier, you'll never start. If your philosophy says, success is for other people, you'll never attract success. So how do we rebuild this essential piece? You rebuild it by feeding your mind better ideas, by learning daily, reading daily, reflecting daily, taking notes, studying principles, listening to people who are living the life you want to live. You reprogram the thermostat. You raise the internal standard. You challenge your old beliefs until they crumble. And then you replace them with a new philosophy that makes success inevitable. Because once your philosophy rises, your entire life rises with it. And once it rises, everything else, attitude, activity, results, lifestyle, must follow. Now let's move to the second piece of the life puzzle, attitude. Because once your philosophy changes, something remarkable begins to happen inside of you. Your emotions shift, your outlook shifts, your posture toward life shifts, and that shift is called attitude. Attitude is the emotional engine of your life. It's how you show up. It's how you interpret your circumstances. It's the color of the glasses you wear every single day. Two people can face the same situation, and one says, this is impossible, while the other says, this is a challenge worth rising to. Nothing changed in the situation. Everything changed in attitude. Attitude is the bridge between your philosophy and your behavior. If your philosophy is the root, attitude is the first sprout breaking through the soil. It's the first sign that change is happening beneath the surface. Now let me tell you something about attitude that most people never understand. Your attitude does not come from your circumstances. If circumstances created attitude, We'd all react the same way to the same events, but we don't. Some people get discouraged by difficulty. Others get energized. Some people shrink under pressure. Others grow. Some people see a problem. Others see an opportunity. The difference is attitude, and attitude comes from philosophy. If your philosophy says, I can handle whatever comes, your attitude becomes confidence. If your philosophy says, there is always something to learn, your attitude becomes curiosity. If your philosophy says, every discipline pays a dividend, your attitude becomes enthusiasm. But if your philosophy says, life is against me, well, your attitude becomes bitterness. If your philosophy says, nothing ever works out for me, your attitude becomes defeat. An attitude, once formed, becomes the emotional fuel for your daily activity. If the fuel is strong, you move consistently. If the fuel is weak, you stall every few days. Let me give you a simple illustration. You can have the best map, the best car, the best destination, but if there's no fuel in the tank, you aren't going anywhere. That's attitude. It's the fuel that carries your philosophy into action. And here's the good news. You can train your attitude just like you train a muscle by feeding it good thoughts, by surrounding yourself with uplifting people, by practicing gratitude, by reviewing your goals, by focusing on progress, not perfection, by reminding yourself daily of the philosophy you're committed to. I learned early that attitude must become intentional. You can't leave it to chance. You can't leave it to moods. You can't leave it to circumstances. If you want a winning life, you must cultivate a winning attitude, because attitude shapes your activity. Attitude determines your energy. Attitude decides whether you show up or stay home, try again or give up, rise to the occasion or surrender to the difficulty. A strong philosophy creates a strong attitude. A strong attitude creates strong activity. And strong activity shapes a strong life. Now that we've built the emotional engine, let's move to the part that makes everything visible, the actions you take every single day. Now we arrive at the third piece of the life puzzle activity. If philosophy is how you think, and attitude is how you feel, then activity is what you do. And here's the great truth. Nothing changes until something moves. You can have the best ideas, the most uplifting attitude, the most inspiring intentions, but life does not respond to intentions. Life responds to actions. Your bank account responds to actions. Your health responds to actions. Your relationships respond to actions. Your future responds to actions. Activity is your philosophy and your attitude made visible. Activity is your belief system walking around on two legs. Activity is where your dreams clock in for a shift. And activity daily, consistent, disciplined activity is what separates wishful thinkers from successful achievers. Let me tell you something I learned early on. Success is not complicated. It's a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Failure is not complicated either. It's a few small errors in judgment repeated every day. That's it. The difference between a winner and a struggler is rarely talent, rarely opportunity, rarely luck. It's almost always small daily decisions compounded over time. Somebody says, well, it's only a donut. True, today it's only a donut. But if your philosophy says one donut doesn't matter, you will repeat that activity until it becomes a pattern. And a pattern becomes a habit. And a habit becomes a lifestyle. And a lifestyle writes the story of your life. The same is true for good habits. Reading 10 pages doesn't seem like much. Walking 20 minutes doesn't seem like much. Saving $10 doesn't seem like much. But repeated daily, those small disciplines can build a new mind, a new body, a new bank account, and a new future. Let me give you an example. A young man once asked me, Jim, how do I change my life? I said, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Read more. Think more. Take notes. Reflect. Practice the disciplines that build value in you. Because as you become more valuable, everything in your life begins to elevate your confidence, your opportunities, your income, your relationships. Activity that improves you is the activity that improves everything else. Now here's something important. Activity exposes your philosophy. You can't say, I believe in health and never move your body. You can't say, I believe in wealth and never save a dollar. You can't say, I believe in growth and never pick up a book. Your actions reveal what you truly believe, no matter what you say you believe. And here's something else. Activity requires consistency, not intensity. Anyone can go hard for 3 days. The question is, can you go steady for 3 years? Intensity is excitement. Consistency is character. And that brings us to the great truth. Your activity writes your results. Your results write your lifestyle. But it all begins with the discipline of doing the discipline of moving from intention to action, from talking to doing, from dreaming to building. So let's move now to the next part of the puzzle, the honest scorecard life gives us in return for our activity. Now let's talk about the fourth piece, results. Because once you've thought the thoughts, felt the feelings, and taken the actions, life gives you something back. And the something life gives you is called results. Let me tell you something about results. Results are honest. They don't lie. They don't exaggerate. They don't sugarcoat. They simply reflect the truth of your activity. Results don't care about your intentions. Results don't care about your excuses. Results don't care how motivated you were on day one. Results don't care how busy you were, how stressed you were, or how unfair life felt. Results respond only to what you did consistently, not what you meant to do. Someone says, I don't understand why I'm not seeing progress. Oh, then we must look back at activity, because results are the harvest of the seeds you've planted. You cannot plant tomato seeds and expect corn. You cannot plant neglect and expect excellence. You cannot plant procrastination and expect progress. You cannot plant comfort and expect change. The law of the harvest is simple. You always get back what you consistently plant in greater measure than you planted it. And here's the part people struggle with. The harvest is delayed. Always. You don't plant in the morning and harvest in the evening. You don't read one book and become wise by Friday. You don't save $10 and retire next month. You don't walk a week and become an athlete. The harvest comes after the planting, after the watering, after the waiting, after the discipline. And most people quit in the waiting. They quit in the quiet season, the season where nothing seems to be happening. But results are always forming beneath the surface long before they show above the soil. Somebody says, I've been doing this for 2 weeks and I don't see anything. That's how it works. Results don't appear when you want them to. They appear when the process is ready. And here's the good news. A small change in activity can produce a big change in results. A slight shift in daily habits can transform your entire life over time. It may not happen immediately, but it will happen inevitably. Results are not punishment or reward. They are simply feedback. They tell you whether your philosophy is correct. They tell you whether your activity is consistent. They tell you whether your attitude is aligned. If your results are not what you want, don't get discouraged. Get curious. Ask better questions. What belief is driving these habits? What attitudes are shaping my decisions? What daily actions are producing these outcomes? Because if you want different results, you must adjust the piece that came before them. Remember this. Results are the scoreboard of your life, and the scoreboard never lies. If the scoreboard isn't in your favor yet, keep playing. Keep planting. Keep watering. Keep adjusting your activity and your philosophy. Because once your results begin to shift, your lifestyle begins to transform. And that brings us to the final piece, the visible expression of all the work you've done up to this point. Now we come to the fifth and final piece of the life puzzle, lifestyle. This is the part everyone wants to jump to. This is the part that gets the attention. This is the part people admire, envy, criticize, or dream about. But let me tell you something essential. Lifestyle is not something you stumble into. Lifestyle is something you build deliberately, patiently, consistently through the other four pieces. Lifestyle is the harvest of your results, the expression of your behavior, the reflection of your philosophy. Your lifestyle is simply your beliefs made visible, your habits made visible, your disciplines made visible, your choices made visible. If philosophy is the seed, lifestyle is the orchard. But here's where most people misunderstand the process. They try to change their lifestyle without changing their philosophy. They want financial peace without financial discipline. They want emotional balance without emotional responsibility. They want physical health without physical habits. They want meaningful relationships without meaningful effort. They want the fruit without planting the tree. And that's why so many become frustrated. They're trying to live a life that their philosophy cannot support. Lifestyle doesn't happen at the end of the year when you make resolutions. It doesn't happen after one big effort or one intense week. It is shaped slowly and surely by the daily decisions of months and years. Lifestyle is nothing more than the long-term consequences of short-term habits. Let me give you a simple example. Someone with a philosophy of responsibility builds a lifestyle of stability. Someone with a philosophy of excuses builds a lifestyle of confusion. Someone with a philosophy of saving builds a lifestyle of freedom. Someone with a philosophy of spending builds a lifestyle of stress. Your lifestyle is your philosophy echoing back at you. And here's the beautiful part. A new lifestyle begins the moment you begin a new philosophy. You don't have to wait until the results show. You don't have to wait until people notice. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect. The lifestyle begins in your mind, expresses through your attitude, demonstrates through your activity, and eventually blossoms in your results. Lifestyle is not the car you drive, it's the peace you feel. Lifestyle is not the house you live in, it's the order inside the home. Lifestyle is not the income you earn, it's how you use it to build your future. Lifestyle is not the applause, it's the integrity you maintain when no one is watching. Lifestyle is the life you become through disciplined effort built day by day, thought by thought, choice by choice. And now that we've walked through all 5 pieces from philosophy to lifestyle, let's take a moment to look at how you strengthen the entire system. Because building a philosophy is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice. So let's talk about how to build a philosophy that sticks. Now that we've uncovered the 5 pieces of the life puzzle, let's talk about something essential, how to build a philosophy that lasts. Because it's one thing to learn a new idea, and it's another thing entirely to make that idea part of who you are. Most people hear a powerful principle, nod their head, feel inspired for a moment, and then go right back to their old patterns by morning. Not because the idea wasn't good, not because they weren't sincere, but because they never learned how to install the idea into their philosophy. Your philosophy is not built in a single moment. It's built through repetition, reflection, exposure, correction, practice. It's built the same way a muscle is built, regular use over time. Let me give you a simple truth. You cannot live above the strength of your philosophy. If you want a philosophy that supports your goals, you must build it deliberately. Let me show you how. First, your philosophy must be simple. If it's too complex, you won't remember it, and if you can't remember it, you won't use it. My philosophy changed when I learned simple ideas. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Success is attracted by the person you become. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. These principles were small enough to repeat, clear enough to understand, and strong enough to follow. Second, your philosophy must be daily. You can't visit a new philosophy once a month and expect it to shape your life. You must review your beliefs every day, morning and night, until they become part of your thinking. Read something good every day. Listen to something good every day. Study something that stretches you every day. A philosophy grows the same way a tree grows a little water every day, not a flood once a year. Third, your philosophy must be written. Don't trust your memory, it's too weak. Trust your notes, they're strong. Carry a journal, a small notebook, a place to capture ideas, insights, quotes, lessons, reflections. You're building a blueprint for your future self. And if you write down what you learn, you can return to it when you need it most. Fourth, your philosophy must be proven. Build your philosophy on principles that work, not trends, not fads, not wishful thinking. Build it on discipline, responsibility, integrity, growth, contribution. Test your philosophy by living it. If it produces good results, keep it. If it produces pain and confusion, challenge it, rewrite it, upgrade it. Fifth, your philosophy must be challenging. A weak philosophy will never demand more from you. A strong philosophy will call you higher. It will ask you to change. It will stretch you beyond your comfort zone. It will require discipline when you least feel like being disciplined. A philosophy that expects nothing from you will give you nothing in return. Sixth, your philosophy must be reviewed. Morning review sets your direction. Evening review measures your progress. Ask yourself each night, what did I learn today? What did I practice today? What did I neglect today? What will I improve tomorrow? This simple review process reinforces the new beliefs until they become part of who you are. And finally, your philosophy must be lived, because philosophy without action is just good advice. It has no power until you do something with it. Once you act on it, live by it, test it, refine it, that's when it becomes real. That's when the new beliefs replace the old ones. That's when discipline becomes natural, not forced. That's when you begin to attract the results you've been hoping for. Remember, you don't rise to your level of motivation. You fall to the strength of your philosophy. Build it well, and your life will rise with it. Build it wisely, and your future will thank you. Build it daily, and one day you'll wake up living a life your old philosophy could never have delivered. Now that we've studied the system from philosophy to lifestyle, from roots to fruit, let's bring it all together for the final lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, let me close our time together with one simple idea, an idea that changed the direction of my life when I finally understood it. And the idea is this: if it's going to be, it's up to you. Not luck, not chance, not timing, not the economy, not your background, your history, or your past mistakes. But you, your philosophy, your decisions, your attitude, your daily disciplines. Your future is not waiting for someone else to give you permission. Your future is waiting for you to decide who you will become. You now understand the 5 pieces, the whole puzzle laid out before you. You know where your results come from. You know why your discipline rises and falls. You know what determines your habits, your progress, your setbacks, your breakthroughs, and ultimately your lifestyle. It all returns to philosophy. And now you know the truth. You don't lack motivation. You lack the philosophy that makes motivation unnecessary. When you build a strong philosophy, you don't need someone to push you. You don't need someone to remind you. You don't need inspiration every morning. Your philosophy pulls you forward. Your philosophy shapes your attitude. Your philosophy drives your activity. Your philosophy produces your results. And your results construct the lifestyle you've always wanted. Somebody says, but Jim, what if I fail? Well, here's the answer. Failure is simply another piece of information. It tells you which part of your philosophy still needs work. Adjust the piece, adjust the life. Somebody says, what if it takes a long time? Well, of course it will. All worthy things take time. Gardens take time. Strength takes time. Wisdom takes time. And your new lifestyle, built on a new philosophy, will take time, but time is going to pass anyway. The question is, what will you become during that time? Somebody says, Jim, is it really possible for one idea to change my whole life? Yes, if you live it. Ideas don't change your life. Ideas change your life. And the idea you've learned today, the one at the center of the entire system, is that you are the architect of your future. You're not waiting for the conditions to be perfect. You're creating the conditions through daily disciplines. You're not waiting for motivation. You're building a philosophy that makes discipline natural. So here's my challenge to you. Start today, not tomorrow, not next week. Start today. Pick one idea from this lesson, one discipline, one small decision, and live it out. Live it today. Live it tomorrow. Live it long enough for it to take root and reshape who you are becoming. And remember, the most important phrase in personal development, the one that took me from broke to successful, from uncertain to confident, from drifting to directed, is the same phrase I'll leave with you now. If it's going to be, it's up to you. If your life is going to change, it's up to you. If your future is going to improve, it's up to you. And if your philosophy becomes stronger, richer, wiser, fuller, your life will rise to meet it. Your journey begins right now. Let's make these next years the best you've ever lived.